In this session, we are going to talk something about web scraping. Now, web scraping means that we want to get information from a web page, but the web page doesn't provide us with any API. You remember in the class when we were using the news API, when we used the news API, what happened? We requested some information from the page using a function, using whatever function they provided to going to that specific URL, and we could receive that information from that page. Like for example, in the previous session, we went to Google Sheets and it was providing us the information as a CSV file. Now, there are some pages on the web which do not allow you to, which do not provide you with this information. Let me give you an example that we are going to use in the project. So this is a page of a profile of faculty. This is my page, my profile, a research profile, and every faculty usually has a page with this profile. And this profile is usually, you can go to the profile by using any link that is provided by the faculty member. So if you provide the link, it will open this page. Now I can see the information from this page, the citations, the information that is more important is this part, and a list of all the papers and everything that the faculty, the name, the university, email address, and many other things for that specific faculty member. Now this page, if I want to, for example, I'm creating a program where I am interested in these numbers. But I cannot get these numbers for each faculty member because they are on this page. So I have to open this page in the browser to get that information. But I don't want to do that. I have to do it automatically through a program. Now to do that, what I will do is something called as scraping. So web scraping is going to that page and getting that required information from the page and using that information. Now this is how Google does indexing their pages. When you search in Google and it tries to find the pages that you're interested in, it's actually going to each page, scraping that information from the page and storing it in the database, in that index. And then whenever you search that information, it is providing you with that information. Because not all pages on the web provide you with the data in a very good format. So you have to go and look at that data automatically by using your program, which is usually called as bots. So these bots are your code that will go to that page, request that page from the program, get that information from that page, and then do something, either read it, show it to you, whatever you like, it can do it. So today we are going to learn to do that by using JavaScript. So let's begin our scraping. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a new file here, and I'm going to call it as webscrape.html. Let's do that. I'm going to let's close this. So I'm going to use, say, web scraping. Okay, and we are going to see how we can scrape that information and then show it here on this page. So what I want to do is I want to add that information in a list. So I'm going to create an empty list first. I'm using a definition list. You can use whatever list you like. And inside that list, I'm going to, for example, add DT because I am just doing it for one person, one faculty member. You may be asked to do it for more than one person. So you may use a table in that case. Okay. So I'm using citation and then I will say DD, which I will keep it empty because I don't have it right now, right? Because this information is what I'm going to receive from the page. And you can see this, the first one, when you go to the page, you can see citations, H index and I10 index. So we can do all of those, right? So it's a H index, so citations. And then say I10 index. Okay, and leave this empty. And then here I'm going to write my script tag, that one that I'm going to use to scrape the page, and then whatever information I bring I will store in this DDs. So first of all I'll say var DD equal to document dot query selector all, then I'm going to say DD. Okay, so I can now use dd 0 1 2 3 to access these up on my page, and I can store information by using inner HTML or inner text. Now, what do I need to do first? So first of all, as I told you, we need to get access to that page before we scrape that information. So before we do that, I'm going to use Ajax to do that part. So let's create our XHR object that I have been doing for everything that we have been doing right now, right? So I say XML HTTP request, and then I'm going to say XHR dot open. I'm going to request a file. I'm going to use the get query, and the URL I'm going to pass on the URL of this page, whatever page I want to scrape. Okay. Now you don't have to use course anywhere link, because we are not using an API, because in API the course is an issue, because now we are trying to scrape the page, so I don't need to use any course. I just add my values, add my URL directly. Okay. Also, you have to specify the type of response you are expecting. You are expecting a document, right? Document means I'm expecting a HTML page. Previously, I was expecting XML data or HTML data, not HTML data, or let's say CSV file or any other format. It was data format. CSV is a data format, JSON is a data format, but now I'm expecting an HTML page, the complete page. That's why I have to specify the response type I'm expecting is a document. Now once I do this, the next part is I want to listen again to the same way, ready state for. So let's go back to do that. So let's say XHR. I'm going to use onload here because I'm going to run it immediately as soon as my page loads. XHR onload. You can also use the ready state on ready state change. Okay, because that's the only function you are performing in this page, right? So I'm going to do this function. I'm going to close this here. And then inside this, I'm going to do the same thing that I did before, which is if XHR dot ready state equal to 4 and XHR dot ready state status equal to 100. Okay, and here I'm going to receive that page, that HTML page, and I'm going to do something with that HTML page over here, right? This is whenever I am loading. Now, if something bad happens, I'm going to do something called on error. Okay, on error. This is another function which is another property on load and on error. On error means something bad happened. So I'm going to say console.error, which is just a print message to specify what happened. I'm going to print out the status, and I can also print out the status text. Okay, this is to print out the mistakes, and then I can simply make the call, which is by using the send function. And that's it. That's all we have to do over here. Now I have to now complete my page, which is the actual part of the page, right? So I have to specify whatever I'm doing over here. You don't have to do this. This is like error mechanism. If you don't want to do it, don't do it. It's just to show that if there is an error, what happened? Was there an error with the message? What I'm not able to read the page or something? I want to show it over here. Otherwise, you can just simply say XHR on ready state change and say function and write it the same way we did before. You don't have to use onload as well. If you want to use onload, you can use onload as well. Okay, this is just to show you an alternate method of listening to the callback from the Ajax request. Okay, the other things are all the same except for this line where we have specified the response type. I am expecting a document, which is a web page, rather than expecting a CSV file or a data file, any data file that is used on the web. Now, once I get this information here, what do I have to do? I have to, because now it is a complete page. Now it will look like this page. What I'll receive is this. So if I say show page source, you will see this page, right? This HTML page. So this is what I'm going to receive. This is what I'm going to receive. The whole thing. The whole HTML page as it is. So now I have to read it. But I'm interested in only some part of it, right? So I'm interested in this part. So how do I get this part? Now you all know that this will be a DOM tree, right? So what I'm going to do is, first of all, I'm going to receive that XML, that HTML page. Now since I cannot use response text. If I use response text, it will come as a text file. So I don't want a text file, because if it's a text file, then I cannot read it like a tree. I cannot read it like a DOM tree. So I want to read it like a DOM tree. So that's why I have to use response XML. So when I'm receiving it, I have to say, let's say for example, var the response, whatever response I'm receiving, I will receive it as xhr.response XML. Okay, so this is how I want to receive it, response XML. Now, this response XML will give me the whole thing. This response XML will give me the whole page, the whole DOM tree from beginning till the end. Now, I'm not interested in the whole DOM tree. I am just interested in this part. You can get the whole part as well. You can go the whole part and then you can start reading it one by one. But I am interested over here in this part. So where is this part? How do we know where is this part? So one way to do that is just simply right click on that part and say inspect element. You can see that when I inspect element, you can see that that is actually a table. That part, this part of the page is actually a table which has an ID called GSC-RSB-ST, something. It's a name that they gave. Maybe for them it's easier to remember that name. So we are interested in this table, right? And what is the table? ID is GSC-RSB-ST. This is the table. Okay. So now inside that table, what am I interested in? I am interested in all the rows. See, there are 3 rows. If you select this row, this is the first row, the citations. If I select this one, I'm in the second row. If I select this one, I'm in the third row. So this table has 3 rows, and it will always have 3 rows. So inside this ID, I have 3 rows inside it. So these 3 are all descendants. They are not children. Remember, inside table, first of all, I have T head and T body. Inside T body, I have TR. So they are grandchildren of this table. So what is the unique part here? What is the unique part? This one, GSC RSB ST. This is the unique. This is an ID. So I can use this as a selector. You remember you did this. You did this in CSS or in JavaScript. We used query selector. And then we can specify a CSS selector to select all the TRs. So let's do that. So instead of doing this XML, I'll say dot, and then I'll specify query selector all. And then inside that, I can specify my CSS. So what is the CSS I'm looking for? I'm looking for a table with an ID called, what was the ID? GSB. What was the ID? GSB, RSB, GSC, RSB, and ST. So let's copy this. Let's copy this HTML, and let's go back and paste it over here. Okay, it pasted the whole HTML. So let's paste. Let's get selector path or something. I don't know what it will return, but let's see. Okay, so let's go back this way. Oh yes, I got it. So selector path is the one. So I got this one, but I'm not interested in the whole table, right? I'm interested in the rows because that table has head and body. So I'm interested in inside the body. I have 3 rows. So I'm interested in the TR. So that's why I used space. You remember why we use space? Space is used for getting all the grandchildren. If I use a greater than sign, that means it will get me all TR which are direct children of this ID. But I'm not interested in direct children, because you remember in the picture, they are not direct children. They are grandchildren of table. So inside table we have T head and T body, but I'm interested in the T body. So I'll go there and we'll say space TR. It will give me all the TRs. Now, if you don't know if we are doing it correctly, then we can just simply say console.log and say response. Okay, and then see if we are doing it correctly or not. So let's save this and let's go back to our page. So let's open this page here. You'll see nothing here. Just inspect, and then you can go back to console. Okay, yeah, this is also not allowing me to access the one, so we have to use CORS. Sorry, mistake. I thought that we don't have to use it, but I think any link is API or not, we have to use CORS. So let's use the CORS that we did before, right? So I'm going to go back to our previous page that we did, which was G Sheet, and let's copy this link. Okay, and then here I'm going to go back and paste that link here. Okay, so I'm using CORS now. So let's go back and refresh the page, and next see the inspect element. Okay, say all. Oops, say forbidden. Why? Strange. Let's pause this. Okay, so when getting back to this, check, yeah. So what we were doing is we're trying to go to this page, the Scholar google.com page, and in this page I am going to get the list of TRs which are under the ID GSC RSP ST. Okay, so let's refresh this page and let's go to the inspect element, and we want to see what do we get. So you can see that from this output I get a list of all the nodes with TR. Okay, all the TRs. So the first TR is, you can see over here, is this one, this is the top one. Okay, this one. And the second TR is what we need, for example, in citations, right? We needed this one, which is 158, 152, which is this one. And then we have the third TR, which has this information, 5, 5, and then we have the I10. So we are interested in, for example, these numbers, 158, 5, and 4. And you can see that these numbers are here, 158, 5, and then 4. But we have to get all of these. In the TR, we have, in the first TR, we have it as the second TD. Okay, second TD. And then here, the second TR, the second TD. The third TR and the second TD. Now, how do we get that information? We know that they are in a node list. So we have to get them by using children. Okay, so by using the children, if you remember what we did. So for example, the response, it's an array. It's an array with 0, 1, 2, and 3. So we are going to look for each one of them one by one. So let's go and do that one by one. So I am here now. So the first thing is, if I go to response, I'll go, if I say 0, then I don't need 0, because if you remember, 0 here is what? 0 here is the header, which is this one, all or since 2015. I don't need this, so I can ignore it. So I just need to go for 1, 2, and 3, which is 1, 2, and 3. Okay, so first of all, I'll go for response 1. This is the first TR. Now inside the first TR, I want to go inside their children. Okay, because here I have a lot of TDs inside them, right? So I will go for children of this. And then from that children, which child I'm looking for? If you go and look at this, this is the first child, this is the second child, and the third child. I'm looking for the second child. So it will be 0, 1, 2. So I'm looking for 1. Okay, so I'll go for children of 1. And then inside that, I'm looking for the content, the text content inside it. So I'll just say text content, because I'm not looking for the node. The node has the values TD itself. So I'm just looking for the text content. So I just want this. And then I want to store this inside this DD, which is, I'll say DD0 dot inner text is equal to, okay, I'll leave. For some reason I removed my response. Okay. So this will be the first one. I'll do the same thing again for the second one. And then here I will say dd1 and response will become 2. But I'm still looking for the second child, right? Because here I'm looking for the second child here, and second child here. And then I'll do the same thing here, but this time I'm going to go for the third row, which is 1, 2, and 3, the third dd, and then here this will be 3. Okay, and then that's it. Okay, so I'm going to remove my console.response. I don't need that anymore. So if I just save this part, and if I go to my page, which is this page, and if I now refresh this page, it will go to the page, it will bring out those 3 things, which is 158, 5, and 4, and this it will show me over here. So that's how I scrape pages. In scraping, remember, whenever you are scraping a page, you always have to look how the page looks like, because once you scrape a page, you will get the whole page. And to get a specific item from the page, you have to use the DOM tree things that we learned. We have to use, the selectors, which is query selector, go to a specific one, and then pick up the item that we want. So this is how we do web scraping by using JavaScript. Okay, I hope that is clear.